Right. This is our first interview whilst playing a game or trying to survive a game. And our first interviewee is Darren Edwards, aka Daz, aka Dazza, aka Chav Pastor, aka he landed really far away from me and I got to survive in order to get to him. Darren,
well,
how?
I hope you do, mate, because I'm like kitted already.
You're kitted. I did find a machine gun. I'm doing all right for myself. I just hope I don't run into an enemy team right now. Oh yes!
Oh, mate.
Woo!
Oh. Hello. Something good just happened. I've got one of these. Do you fancy like a? Oh, I'll take it. You know, I'm gonna have it. Got some epic LMG.
LMG.
Ah, no.
Is that a sniper? Oh.
No, it's like a really long, sort of long range, mega sort of machine gun.
Sweet. And there's a reason why we are playing Call of Duty for this interview.
Is it because we used to play Call of Duty at Bible College?
Well, we kind of bonded over Call of Duty. Like, because
right?
our wives were already friends. And we kind of just had to play it because there was nothing else to really do while our wives were talking in the living room. And I feel like our friendship was built on Call of Duty. So yeah, so I wanted to relive those years, like 8 years ago? 9 years ago?
Well,
8, 7,
yeah,
8,
like
9?
Yeah, about 9 or 10 years ago now. I think I went off to Bible College in 2010, I think.
Gosh.
Yeah, so it's quite a long time ago, isn't it?
I know.
10 years ago, bro.
I know. Flipping heck. Oh, I got armour. So we're going to try and have an interview whilst living through the absolute stress that is Warzone. Oh, and try not to alert enemy teams. When you left without me? You didn't even tell me. You ran off without me.
I'm like just playing this game, mate, you know what I mean? Like
teamwork makes the dream work, Darren. Let's survive this together.
I know, right? Mate, I've got this great
Daz, do you want to introduce yourself? Who you are?
So yeah, sure. So I guess I'm a pastor, which means I lead a church in Lincoln. I've started a church myself with my family and that. Hello. I'm on top of this like motorbike thing. You alright, mate? Sorry, I'm on some motorbike thing.
Shall we have a drive? Let's drive and talk.
You do it. Let's drive and talk. So,
it's really loud. Let's not drive and talk because it will overtake will drown out the actual conversation. Okay, so yeah, sorry, carry on.
As I was saying, my wife and I and my children started a new church in Lincoln in what 2013, I think it was. We sort of lead 3 churches, or maybe 4 or 5. I don't know what's going on nowadays, really. I just start churches all over the place wherever I can, really. I sort of feel like everywhere should have its own community church with its own flavour. If that makes sense.
Right. Okay.
You know,
and what flavour? What flavour is that?
So the one which I lead here, the first one I ever started was we nicked them, and I'm off the estate. I'm a little bit rough around the edges. I don't wear suits. I wear joggy bees, and I've got an Adidas cap on today, you know, and Adidas trainers. You know, that's sort of my normal wear. You know, I'm not your usual vicar. So yeah, so I sort of like my plan really was I wanted to start a church that would feel sort of welcoming and normal to people like me.
Okay.
That's sort of why Chav Church, really.
Okay. Do you not think the church engages with people of your background, like estates? Do you not think it engages? We're in gas. Oh my gosh, we're gonna die already. We're gonna die.
Well, you are. I've got a gas mask, bro.
I'm gonna outrun you. This is a race. I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm alright. I've got a gas mask.
Oh, thanks for telling me.
I'm gonna die as well.
Thanks.
Yeah,
this is a good start. Good start.
How did we die so early?
Oh, no bad. I had some alright guns as well. I'm gonna get through these gulags. I'm gonna get through the gulags.
guess that's a good thing about this game, although that kill us like really early on, didn't it? What was we saying? Oh yeah, you just
yeah. Do you think? What's going to make these interviews really interesting and counterproductive? Let me join.
Never got me. I'm dead.
Are you in the gulags as well?
Yeah. The question was, I'm dead.
You're saying what the question was, and you're the interviewee.
I know. So, is the church sort of relevant, or is it able to reach out to people off the housing estates and stuff like that?
Yeah, like the mainstream church.
Yeah, so I'd say the church is not relevant. By which I mean the church message is relevant to everyone, you know. But in terms of does it reach out to effectively people from my culture, I'd say sometimes it doesn't, and it's not from not through a sort of effort to, you know. So it really wants, but it sort of doesn't know how to. And it doesn't do it. It doesn't do it as its sole purpose, you know. So our sole purpose was to reach out to people like myself.
Yeah.
Which sort of means that that I do everything I can to reach out to people on the estate, and then I don't reach out to Christians. I don't reach out to people who the normal traditional style of church would suit, you know. So
yeah.
So yeah, if that makes sense, that make much sense.
Yeah. I tell you what, could you tell us a bit about you, like how did someone off the estate become a pastor? Tell us a bit about your background or your story.
Yeah, so I guess I grew up on a housing estate. Firstly, we've mentioned that a few times. When I was a kid, my social workers wrote in one of their reports that I was caught stealing bread off a next door neighbour's bird table in order to feed me and my family, like me and my siblings.
Yeah.
Because you know we were really poor, and I guess from a very early age, I learned that I had to be the provider and the protector for myself, certainly, and maybe some people as well.
Sorry.
Say again.
Oh, did you die in the gulags?
Here if you got the cash.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll leave the game at starting here. Leave game. We did well.
Like I learned how to sort of protect myself and other people from the world around us. Usually using like violence and aggression and intimidation.
Yeah.
And that sort of took me on a journey of like leading gangs, and you know I was always the person who'd go the extra mile. So if someone brought a 6-inch knife, and I would have wanted brought a 9-inch knife, and you know all that sort of stuff. You know, if someone gave someone a bit of a punch and a kick in, I'll be the one to stamp on them and like really sort of like do some serious damage. You know, so I always went a little bit further than everyone else. To sort of make this sort of massive profile out of myself. You know, and make everyone afraid of me. So people say to me, you know, they'd cross the road when I was walking down the street, and they'd be scared to look at me and stuff like that because of my reputation. And so I grew up in that, and I grew up in a place where I had a load of money. I run my own business. I was, you know, had decent jobs and stuff like that. I had a decent life, really. It was just like drowned in booze and a little bit of cocaine and weed and stuff, you know. And I like had this really weird experience, like a spiritual experience, when I was about 23. Where I would say that I met God, which some people might find a bit funky, but I sort of encountered God in this really weird way, and started researching him, you know. So in that research, I guess I wanted to answer 3 questions. First one was Jesus a real person?
Yeah.
Second one was if he was a real person, then what did he say about himself, and was it true? And then if all that was true, then what's my response?
Yeah.
And I sort of came to the conclusion after reading loads and researching loads that Jesus was definitely a real person. He said that he was God. If not with his actual words, then maybe with his actions and the things that he did, he claimed that he was God. And his disciples, his followers, literally gave their lives, feeling that was true. And I thought, well, people wouldn't lay down their lives for something they knew was a lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I could understand people selling a decent book or whatever and getting rich off it by lying, but I can't imagine you literally dying and letting your kids and your family die for a lie. You know, so yeah, I sort of felt like what he was saying about himself was true. Called for a response from me, and the response from me was, okay, I think I might follow this guy.
Yeah.
And on that day, like, I went from drinking every day to drinking like never. I didn't have that alcohol for like 18 months or something like that.
Okay.
Like really weird.
Did you have any like
drinking.
withdrawals or anything?
So it's weird. Like the night that I became a Christian, I had the shakes, which I sometimes think might have been the withdrawals, but it only lasted one night. You know, so it's I'm not sure. Like I guess it was a bit of a miracle, but if you're a bit skeptical, you wouldn't think so. You know, but yeah, like my life just went totally the other way. So I set my TV on fire because it had sin on it, which absolutely horrified my family. You know, they were like, "What are you doing?" And my wife came downstairs the next morning. She was like, "We've been burgled." And I was like, "We haven't. What are you talking about? The TV is at the bottom of the garden, smouldering." And she was like, "Why would you do that?" And I went, "Because the Dove advert had a naked woman in it, and I felt like sinning, so I set it on fire." You know what I mean? Like my life just went like 100 miles an hour, like trying to follow Jesus. You know, and I was just like, I guess from there, life just went on this sort of journey. I guess I've been on this journey, just trying to follow Jesus and do whatever he says. You know, which might sound a bit weird, but yeah, I guess like I joined a church that's close to me. This is weird. I think you might have clicked into the wrong game.
Hold on. Let's pause the serious conversation while we do the first bit because it gets very loud.
Why didn't I land at the same time?
Come on, man.
I'm really dead.
I need to find cover quick.
Whoa,
oh, shoot me in the face. Oh, he just fell down. Oh, 3,
right,
2.
Woo,
what the heck?
Right, are we still in with other people? Yeah.
Yeah, so we're doing another battle royale.
Have we got other people on our team? Yeah.
We shouldn't do. We should be on a duo.
Okay. Oh, you're right.
Did I pick a duo?
I saw a couple more people in our. I know we are.
Oh no, we're on a duo. Right, you.
Let's go. Shall we go to the quarry? Let's just jump. Jump.
Hear each other.
Here we go. Bang! Oh, I thought I was going to die then.
Oh, other people are here.
Get to work.
Oh man. Oh. One guy just entered that warehouse. Where are you? Oh, you're over there. Oh, I landed on the other side. I'm going to try and get away from this guy because he's going to kill me. So, yeah, so you've kind of adopted the identity of Chav Pastor. So you've kind of gone into a little bit why, but I kind of want to push further and ask why? Because you've written a book called Chav Christianity. Do you want to talk a bit about that? Your book, which I have read many moons ago.
Have you?
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, bro. I'm trying to think.
Someone's trying to pop at me.
So yeah, Chav Christianity. Basically, what I wanted to do is I sort of wanted to explain where I come from, and that where I'm coming from isn't all bad.
Yeah.
Because in church life, like even as I was like saying, I'm going to start this new church called Chav Church, and people would be giving it all like, oh, can you really be a Chav and a Christian at the same time? Like somehow Chavs are inherently bad. And so what I did was I wrote this book to try and explain sort of good things about like Chav culture and stuff.
Okay.
You know, so like people are like give a lot. You know, we're really sort of generous. In the working class culture and stuff. You know, things like that, and then trying to work out. You know, what things could be redeemed.
Yeah.
And what a working class church would look like, or a Chav Church would look like.
Yeah.
Sort of explaining all that sort of stuff in this book, which seems to go pretty well actually. But I don't know. Well, I think there's been quite a few people brought it. I think over 3,000 people so far. Which in the UK is pretty decent, you know. So
that's a good bit of money, good bit of pocket money.
Yeah. Well, not really.
I don't know. I've never sold a book in my life. So.
Well, like to be honest with you, like you're probably looking at. You don't really make any money off books, but yeah, like essentially, it's almost like a sort of his I think church could look if we allowed people to be who they are naturally, and redeemed parts of what like our culture rather than just saying, oh no, well, you know, that's bad and that's bad, you know, all these different things that we do are bad, you know, and it's like, oh, that's just not really bad, it's just not what you think is holy or good, you know. So for example, I would give my last tenner to a mate,
right, you know,
in order to, like, if he needed it, like maybe for I don't know, chips or whatever, you know what I mean, like, I'd give my last tenner to a mate, whereas my friends that are middle class Christians would say, oh no, you should put your money into bricks and mortar, you know, so you should save all your money, so you can get so you can buy a house. But then I'm like, well, Jesus didn't say that. Jesus said that we shouldn't worry about having savings, and we shouldn't worry about like where our money comes from, where our food comes from. So why would I be saving up? It's almost like anti-biblical, some of our middle class Christian culture, you know. So yeah, I sort of wanted to challenge that a little bit, I guess. But yeah.
But do you think a lack of saving could be a detriment? Do you think?
Guy down there.
I've only got a SMG. Oh no, I've got shells. Oh no, I did have shells. Where are they? I'll blow them up.
Just where I pinged as hello. Let me see. Throw at him. But yeah, there's a guy. I got him a little bit. I didn't get him loads.
Oh yeah, we're being hunted by the way. I'm being hunted. Yeah. So do you think so back to what you said about saving and kind of investing. Do you not think that's a biblical thing to do?
So I think it's not New Testament.
Right.
It's not New Testament. Not New Testament Christian. No. So New Testament Christian is give everything you have to the cause, and everyone sort of shares what they've got and gets fed. You know. So, and that's not even 10%. So biblical is 10%. New Testament Christian is just give everything you've got.
Yeah.
I think someone's coming in here, Carrot.
Yeah, I'm going to blow him up as soon as I turn. What? Where'd he go? Oh, there they are.
I'm down.
I've got him. Flipping heck.
Go get me,
I hope he was alone. I hope his teammate wasn't nearby. Flipping heck.
If everyone's in duos, then I think we're all right.
Yeah. I'm still being hunted. That's why. Flipping heck. He might have good guns. Yeah. So what were we saying? Yeah. So investment and the Bible. Do you not think, even though it is Old Testament, do you not think it's a practice to keep in the world? Bearing in mind that are you dead? Oh.
No, I'm just getting my arm up for.
Oh.
So I think I would say that our saving, all that sort of stuff, shouldn't be out of selfish ambition.
Right.
So the Old Testament Proverbs says,
he's running around.
The Old Testament in Proverbs says that a wise man provides for his grandchildren.
A wise man says what? Sorry, I had heavy metal music played.
A wise man provides for his grandchildren.
Yeah.
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 But that's provided for his grandchildren, not providing for him to have a great life and all that. You know. So there's a slight, you know, and then unfortunately, I think most people try and get rich in order to live a life that is sort of in keeping with what the world considers to be like special in some way, you know. So so, and I think the two are two different things. I think it's okay to save to provide for your grandchildren because that's wise and godly. But it's not so wise and godly to just try and get rich or die trying.
Yeah.
You know,
So
kick me. Yeah.
So I don't know. So in terms of like economics, so you say it's not out of selfish ambition. So what if you were to invest in business property of your area, which might be like a deprived area, in order to lift the area out of poverty to benefit the people in your area? Do you see what I'm saying? So like, would you say that's okay to do? Right, I see him. I'm gonna blow him up. Not quite. He's still up.
Bounty target identified. Slot the bastard.
You jump out and go after him?
Yeah, I think you got a parachute, haven't you?
Yeah.
Might be a trap. I'll flank him if he's still around.
So, should we invest in business and stuff? For
So like in terms of economics, to lift, say, a deprived area out of poverty to improve the area for the residents who live there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's like a social enterprise, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And I think a social enterprise is fine. Because it's social enterprise. It's looking after a group, so it's not out of selfish ambition.
Yeah.
So I have no, and to be honest with you, I ain't really got any problems with capitalism, but that's just not biblical. You know what I mean? Like, so it's there's two questions really. So is it good? Maybe. Is it biblical? No. So why should you preach it on a Sunday? You know what I mean? They make everyone who's poor feel like they're not doing a good enough job. You know. So
do you think capitalism gets preached in churches a lot?
Oh yeah, mate. Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, mate. Yeah, 100%.
How in terms of how do you mean? Is it kind of built into the messages like blatantly, or is there like an underlying?
Yeah, so I think it's a bit of both. You know, I think there's an underlying culture of you've got to be comfortable, and Jesus calls us to not live in poverty and all this sort of stuff. And then, but it's almost like people who preach that stuff, not looking at the third world and the way that like Christians live in those lands. They're just like looking at how we live over here, going, oh yeah, this is like God's plan that we're a special country, and I'm like, are you having a laugh, mate? You know what I mean? Like,
so do you think that's a type of nationalism kind of has weaved its way?
Maybe, although I'd probably suggest that it's just an ideology that is runs through.
Thank you. Took me by surprise. Made me jump. I'm alive, thank you.
Right, mate. So I think sometimes the things that we say and do, born out of a culture or something that we've been taught as kids, or something that our granddad said, and we go, oh, this is biblical, and we pick out one or two little scriptures or something where it could maybe sort of look like that, and then we preach it. And I guess my mentality is I want to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And the truth is, I think Jesus was a socialist.
So do you think that we kind of frame our theology around the way we live? Or the former, maybe, or maybe we bring how our culture lives and kind of frame that around like a theology. Do you know what I mean? So we kind of read that into when we read the Bible or do church.
Yeah, maybe. I think maybe not so much us bringing our sort of our lifestyle into the church. I think it's more like us bringing our culture and the stuff we've learnt from parents and stuff like that
Yeah.
And our parents have already brought it into the church. So sometimes actually, our parents push their stuff through the church. You know. Although I wouldn't know what that looks like because my parents weren't Christian. You know.
Yeah.
My parents were poor.
Where's that come from?
Behind us.
Right. Shall we go in this building?
Yeah.
Right. I'll close this door.
Loads of windows around us, by the way.
Oh yeah, nice window room. Great choice of area.
Yeah,
they were there. They were right there.
Loads of stuff.
Yeah, I just realised I haven't got any shields. I'm just gonna. Oh! No!
One down.
I'm dead. I'm dead, Darren.
You're dead?
Yeah.
Where are you?
I was back in that room where you killed the guy.
Oh, is there only one?
It seems so.
I've got you.
Mate, I'm like carrying you through this, bro.
Oh no! It's because I'm just focused on what you're saying. just trying to process it.
What was I saying? I don't know what I was saying.
We were talking about parents and what parents could like instill on your thoughts of Christianity, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think. So I don't think it's anything sinister, you know. I don't think there's anything like.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is, we sort of we naturally bring our ideology and our
Gas is moving.
like our culture into church, and then all too often we allow that to infiltrate our understanding of the Bible when it should be the other way. The Bible should be infiltrating our culture and our ideology and changing that.
Watch for enemy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mate, I feel like that's just like the biggest bit of wisdom I've ever come out with in my whole entire life. That's proper preacher talk, that, isn't it? So do you need some body armor, by the way, mate?
Oh no, I've got some. I just keep forgetting to put it in. I've got like 5. So back to what you said.
I also think.
Yeah, carry on.
Go on. I'm on a kill streak. So do you know how to use them?
What? Kill streaks?
Yeah. I've got a kill streak, bro.
I don't know. I thought a kill streak was just you've killed people and.
Yeah, like, apparently I can do. Liam, how do I do my kill streak? I'm on a kill streak for like the first time in my life.
So back to what you said, kind of about investment. Do you living comfortably? Do you think it's a sin for Christians to kind of have a nice house in a nice area?
Oh wow, yeah, great. So in how about this? In the Old Testament, like God said, do not murder, right? And then we say if you murder someone, that's a sin, right? Because God said don't do it, and then you do it. Yeah. So then God says, so if you don't do something that God says, then it's a sin, and if you do something that
I just saw a sniper glare. Sorry, carry on. I just saw a sniper glimmer over in the house.
Yeah. So essentially, if you do something that God says not to, that's a sin. If you don't do something that God says to do,
I think there was one more right next to that one. Oh no! I'm reloading! No! Flipping heck. Should have reloaded first, man. 2 legs. Are you alive, Darren?
I'm down. No, I'm down.
All right, both
I killed your guy though, so you got a kill.
Oh, thank you. You avenged me at least.
That's it. So yeah, as I was saying, sorry. So God says don't do something, you do it, that's a sin. God says not to do something, and you do it, that's a sin. Yeah. So God says that we should. So in the same way, if God says not to store up your wealth in barns, and then nowadays that's don't put your money into the bank. So if you do put your money into the bank and store up your wealth, then you're doing the opposite of what God says. So I guess that would be called sin, wouldn't it?
Okay. Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah. But are you?
Was you finished?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Well, I'm in the gulag as well, and nothing's happening. So.
Yeah, sometimes if you haven't got any opponents, you'll go back in the game automatically.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I've got enough money to bring you back straight away as soon as I get back in. So, yeah. So I think there's lots and lots of things that we do in church. And even things that are recommended in church that are actually sin, you know. So one of them would be, you know, putting your money into bricks and mortar, which I was told as soon as I got saved, you know. So so I got saved, and then all of a sudden, there were people telling me, you know, oh yeah, you should
go on,
put your money into bricks and mortar, buy yourself a nice house. You know, I mean,
go on, Daz.
So
buy me back, please. How much money you got? You only need 1,000 more to redeploy me. Find $1,000 and I'll come back. This is investment, Daz. Investment. Grab that money. So would you say that the Bible is okay with riches and investment if those riches and investment is done for the benefit of other people? Well, don't die in the storm.
Die. I didn't realise it was coming in. I'm gonna die. What an idiot. What did I do that for? I was going for that trolley, weren't I, to bring you back? Sorry, say that again.
16th. 16th. I think that was all right.
Probably the best game I've ever had, mate.
Yeah, I think the highest I got was, I think, 10th in a squad game. That was my best. Well, I didn't get 10th. My squad members got 10th. I died like way early.
I think me and Liam like won our third or fourth game into it. I think.
Yeah.
Like he's really good, Liam. Gets really stressed at it. What was the question? Go on.
Yeah. So the Bible is Jesus in the Bible. Is it okay with investment and gaining riches if that investment and riches is used for the benefit of other people?
The Apostle Paul went out and made tents, you know, so that was his trade.
Yeah.
And he did that so that he could do ministry, you know, so he could sort of do church well and all that, you know. But I don't think, like, and hopefully I'm not coming across as being anti-rich people, you know, because I'm certainly not that, but I do feel like maybe there's a middle ground between people telling me I should buy loads and loads of like I should be rich and I should oh come on, is he dead?
Yeah, so do you think there's a dividing line between riches and consumerism?
Riches and consumerism, yeah. So and I think that's the difference in the two.
Oh,
so,
one sec. The aeroplane is really loud. One sec.
Alright, soldier, mark a drop point for your team.
Prison sounds safe.
You've got gas closing in fast. Get to the safe zone.
Let's go. Yeah. So and I think what you know.
Hold on. Let's land first because the wind is really loud. All right, go. Okay, I can hear you now.
Cool. So the line between consumerism and the Bible and stuff, and I think the problem with life is I think we've all been tricked into thinking that life has to look a certain way. Otherwise it's not really life, or you're not really good at it, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And I think and there's no problem with people being rich, you know, because I think God sometimes gives people the opportunity to like be rich for the sake of, well, sometimes just for the sake of them because he loves them.
Yeah.
You know? Not that he doesn't love people that are that aren't rich, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's too easy to think, oh, so if you're rich, it means God loves you, and that's sort of what they believed in the New Testament times, you know. So
yeah.
But that's not actually true. That's not who God is.
Right.
So I don't think necessarily that it's wrong to be rich,
right?
And I don't think you have to use your riches for godly things necessarily. And I don't think that God makes you rich because you're godly. You know. So but I think there is this whole thing of what are the expectations that the world has put upon you, and what are the expectations that God has put upon you?
Yeah, so I guess not the American dream, because we're not in America, but that kind of, do you need... Oh, I think someone's around me. It's either you or someone else. I think it might be you. So this idea of owning a house before a certain age, and having a family before a certain age, and having your dream job by a certain age. It's those kind of expectations that if you haven't met those, you're kind of seen as someone else is in the building, Daz.
Okay, I'm coming.
Oh no, there are two of them. I think there might be two. It's the idea of you have to have had these things to be of worth in society.
Fight's kicking off.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with the whole world. That is, if you don't meet these expectations, which for some people aren't fair, or they don't have the same start in life as other people and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we're all expected to meet the same expectations, and some of us don't have the same sensibility in that.
Yeah.
And I think it's reasonably quite ungodly. And I think it's not fair on anyone really. Are you dead?
Yeah, I got knocked out. I got given a sniper rifle in the showers. Who uses a sniper rifle in the showers?
I know you got a punch when you're in that situation.
Yeah, I realised that when he hit me with his gun. What were we saying?
Right, mate.
The expectations of society,
I think that's all totally ungodly, and I think it's not biblical as well. And I think God doesn't want you to feel like that,
Yeah.
I'm hunting someone down, by the way.
Oh, that's cool, man. You be brave. As long as you get enough money to bring me back.
Well, that's the plan, yeah.
Gosh. No, that's really good.
Damn it, got me.
Come on, get back.
Yeah, so so I think that that the whole thing of expectations and stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many of them as well. You're supposed to have 2.4 children. Everyone has to be married or in a relationship in order to be whole, and all that sort of stuff. And actually, I think that God sort of designed us with a certain thing in mind. And I don't think any of that.
Unlucky.
There's so many expectations, and maybe there'll be loads of young people probably watching this, might be listening to this, and you might be overwhelmed by expectations, And I think one of the big things challenging young people at the moment is expectations, and I think so many people feel so overwhelmed by them that you see people committing suicide or gun crime and knife crime and drugs and all these different things, teenage pregnancy and stuff. It's all just expectations, an overload of them. And
Okay.
I think if I had any message for any young people in our culture, it'd probably be, hey, if we strip back everything of the world all the way back and strip back ourselves to, I believe your soul is your naked self, almost like your raw self, you without the expectations, you without the masks that we wear in order to look normal and all that sort of stuff. I think that's who our soul is. And I think if we strip back to who we really are and just learn to love who we are and be at peace with who we are, just our true self, who God called us to be or made us to be, then I think we would feel so much more we'll feel a lot freer, we'll feel a lot stronger. We wouldn't feel the weight of the world pressing down upon us, which is usually all expectation. And then we also have these unwritten expectations, somehow because I'm a bloke, I have to be strong. I'm like, hey, I'll cry, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll do what I want, mate. I'll cry if I want. You know what I mean? And I think just getting rid of the unwritten expectations as well, and all that sort of stuff. And I think the expectations that the world has put upon us, even Disney blooming films and stuff, from a very early age, our young ladies are being told that you've got to have a prince. Why? Why do you have to have a prince? What's that got to do with anything?
Well, they're trying to steer away from that now, aren't they? They're trying to tell stories where the woman doesn't need a prince or to be rescued, because they've kind of done that for decades.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit late in the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you know, and then I remember when I was growing up, I remember the first like gangster films that I ever watched were like Menace to Society, and then all of a sudden I'm going, you know, kick them when they're down as well. That's what's expected of me. Like, be brutal, you know, because you know that's what I felt my life was like. Although my life wasn't really like that, but at times it was. From like on a certain days, certain times, it would seem a lot like I was in that sort of film. You know, and I would just be going, you know, I've got to be as brutal as these guys. And then you watch like New Jack City, you know, and all these old, like, some of the young people listening won't have a clue what I'm talking about, but these are like proper old school gangster films, you know. And it's like I used to watch those and sort of feel the weight of expectation of how I should live up to that mentality, you know, because suddenly I was in a big city, and I was you know, in the drug scene, and we had weapons, and you know what I mean? And so I just felt like that was my life, and that was what was expected of me. And so I tried to live up to that. And actually, it was Hollywood or whoever sort of like taking it to some extremes, and those were never the expectations that was on my life the moment I was born and brought out of the womb. You know, no one looked at me and thought, oh yeah, this kid is going to be expected to run around and lead a gang and, you know, like kick someone in the head a few times if they step out of line or whatever. You know, no one thought that when I was laying in that cot, you know, one day old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We're getting deep here, aren't we, mate? Do you want to press play
No,
again?
that's fine. Yeah. So I'm gonna press play, and then I'm gonna ask you another question once we've landed. On the back of that, do you think mainstream media has a part to play in things like gangs or youth violence? Do you think it has?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a cause? I mean, we say that.
Shooting someone in the background.
We say that while playing Call of Duty. But do you think there's? Do you think like violent films, violent video games, violent music has a part to play in youth violence, gangs, and that kind of stuff? Almost like a hyper-masculine, aggressive behaviour and how a man should be.
So I think.
Oh, pause that because we're on a plane. Yep.
Don't die this time.
I'll try not to. I'll do my best.
I think all too often the media gets some bad stick, and everyone points to the media. I had a really good conversation with some guys at church yesterday, where we was talking about Matthew chapter 7, where it says, you know, pull the plank out your own eye and all that sort of stuff.
All right, lads, let's get it done.
Jesus asked this question in verse 2. He says, you know, why do we judge one another? You know, why do we do that? And I think, like one of the people said that, oh yeah, you know. Maybe it's like a demonic curse or something, you know, and we've just been like sort of trained how to think like that, you know, whatever. And then someone else said, "Oh, I think it's culture's fault," and then someone else was like, "It's something else's fault." And at no point did anyone say, "I think I was just angry, so I did something wrong." You know what I mean? Like, and I think, and I think that it's not always about the media. I think quite often it's about you know, I feel a certain way, and so so for me, I remember I was maybe 7 or 8 years old, being fostered by my grandparents, and I went to go and visit my mum for the first time in absolutely ages, and whilst I was there, oh hello, big old carrot, you can have this gun, mate, it's quality.
Sick, thank you.
So, whilst I was there, my stepdad became really aggressive.
Yeah.
And started shouting at everyone and like threatening and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And Oh, mate, there's someone right here.
Oh, I see him. Oh no! Got him. Oh no, I haven't. Oh, there's another one on the other side. Oh, there was.
Yeah. So I was essentially. They're still shooting at me. That's why I'm gone. Yeah.
Oh.
So I was essentially.
Sorry, I should have saved your life, but I didn't.
Sort of really. That's right. My response was I took my shoe off and I lobbed it at my stepdad and it hit him in the eye and he started crying.
Right.
And all of a sudden, like you're no longer in that volatile scenario because he's now been like, you know, he's hurting, he's crying, and you've sort of won the day by being violent. And so I learned that if ever I felt uncomfortable and like someone was having a crack at me, I just got violent. Then you know that sort it. And so from then on, whenever I felt uneasy, I just became violent, and so it wasn't anything to do with the media, and it wasn't anything to do with anyone else for that matter. It was just that's how I responded at that time, and it worked for me.
Yeah.
And so that became how I responded all of the time, you know.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's right. I guess the media does play a part.
Yeah, but it's not like the sole. It can be a factor. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think like the media takes a load of stick all too often when it doesn't need to.
Yeah. Oh. Nope. I want this one. No, I want this one. Are you watching my screen? There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. I know, because that guy is still around, I swear.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Right, I'm going to make a move.
Where's the redeployment thing?
No, that's great.
Little thing.
So to return to kind of like the whole Chav Church, Chav Pastor, because I know some people might feel offended to be called a Chav. Do you know what I mean? So like, or people might see the word Chav as an offensive. Whoa! Have a grenade, bro. Oh, he saw me. I'm gonna slide down here.
So people might feel offended at the word chav. So so far, the people that have been most offended by the term chav have always been middle class people.
Okay.
So what they do is
do you think
go,
like?
You should...
Sorry. Do you think like I guess a traditional sense of a working class person wouldn't be offended if they were called a chav?
Not necessarily. Like it depends on who's calling them a chav. So I think, like middle class people have said to me, we think it's an offence to be a chav. You know what I mean? And so
a chav is kind of seen in society as this. I guess back to our expectations, something you don't want to be in society.
Maybe so, yeah. Or maybe it's just people think, you know, chavs. You know, maybe some people might say, "Oh yeah, chavs are poor, and it's not okay to be poor." So that's disgusting or dirty. And so they treat people that are poor in a derogatory manner. Yeah. By calling them a chav, and so they say, "Oh, you mustn't call someone a chav. That's a horrible thing to call someone." Right. And really, what the problem isn't that person's poor. It's that you think they're dirty because they're poor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
So would you say you're kind of taking a word that's seen as negative and turning it into something positive to be proud of?
Yeah, and I think like I was already proud of it to begin with. You know what I mean? And the people that come to our church are proud to belong to Chav Church, and they're proud to be called a chav by their friends and their and they're, you know, the people that love them, you know, people that aren't saying you're chav as in that means you're dirty and poor. Yeah.
I've got enough money to buy you back, by the way.
Oh, well done. Happy days. So I think majority of people who don't like the term chav are usually people that use it as a derogatory term, which in itself is derogatory. You know what I mean? So yeah. So the people that take the most offence at it are the people that use it in a bad way.
Yeah. So I remember Owen Jones wrote a book called Chavs. And I remember, I think we read it around the same time because we were talking about it, in my final year, I think. Did that have an effect on... Because that was before you started Chav Church. Do you think that book had an effect on your idea for Chav Church?
So I used that book as research for the book that I was writing personally.
Yeah.
And also as a sort of just general reading because I wanted to know a bit more, you know. So
yeah.
Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone.
There's a thing to say in front of you, by the way. So I think I'd already started church and building Chav Church before.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
But I definitely used it as a way to sort of understand more about what people thought and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So let's kind of move on. I want to talk about church planting. Now, would you say you're more of a church planter than a pastor, or would you say you have to be a pastor to be a church planter, or could you be a church planter and not a pastor? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I think I personally am more of a sort of entrepreneur than I am a sort of pastoral caregiver.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Okay.
And so church planting, I think, is like, well, I know some people that have planted a church because they wanted to be a pastoral caregiver.
Right.
You know
so
I mean?
Would you say your role as pastor is more of a title in terms of leader more than a skill set of being pastoral?
Open the boiler.
Is it you, right?
Gas is moving.
Are you riding a helicopter? Oh, bye.
I don't know what I'm doing. Where are you?
I'm here. I don't want to get in because it drowns out the mics.
Yeah.
Don't die. Please don't. No!
Oh, I just died. I died. Help me up, bruv.
Take those.
Oh my gosh.
I've got you.
So as I was saying, so would you say like pastor has kind of encompassed this thing of a leader of a church and not necessarily the skill set? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think I understand what you're saying. So I think loads and loads of people think that a pastor is just someone who leads a church, and in as much as that's sort of true in our language, you know, so people think that pastor means vicar,
right?
Like the vicar in the Anglican church. Another word for that people would say is pastor. But in reality, I think the gift of the pastor is a bit more sort of different to that, you know. So it's more like a caregiver more than anything else.
Like, would you say a counsellor? Like a... No, I guess not in the sense of a professional sense. But,
yeah. Maybe someone who helps you to stay on your feet and become more stable.
Yeah.
More than it is about making you feel good about your feelings.
So I guess almost like a mentor.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like a mentor.
A mentor, a guide, or like a soundboard, I guess.
Yeah. So someone who you're going on a journey with a particular desire to help you out. To
kind of build you up as a person, build you up in your faith. That kind of thing.
And like I do that sort of stuff, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's my sort of main gifting or main drive, if that makes sense. Like I'm quite likely to sort of have someone else on my team do that, you know. When then I'll be off sort of starting new things up and trying to break new ground and find new people who I can reach out to and stuff, you know.
Yeah. Well, looks like a good place to set up a base.
Ah, I see. You need to be camping, are you?
Yeah, man. I love camping. I'm going to close the doors. I'm just going to close the downstairs Oh, was that a shot? Did you shoot? So that's a church planter. What is a church? I think it might kind of obvious because it's in the name, but I guess what is a church planter? What does a church planter do?
So my one of my roles is that I am on the national church planting team for Elim, and so I sort of train a bit in this. So I'd suggest that there's two different types of church planting. One is like a pioneer church, and the other one is like a sort of daughter church, or something along those sorts of lines. You know, so the daughter church style would be a big church somewhere.
Oh, we got to move.
Says,
we got to move.
A big church somewhere would say we want to spread out a little bit, so we're going to send 60 people go to this other place and start a new church there. And so it's almost like you take your existing culture, your existing givers, your existing Christians and stuff, and you take and plonk them somewhere else and say, you know, start trying to work, I don't know, help the area to become more Christian or have more Christian values, or, you know, and all that sort of stuff. Whereas a pioneer church planter, which is sort of what I do, is my routine would be find a place that doesn't have a Christian community, or one that looks similar to the way that we do things. So we would say like spirit filled, which means that we're quite active and stuff. And so we would find a place like that that doesn't already have something going on in it, and then we would go in there, one or two people, and we would start leading people to Jesus.
Follow me to this house. Carry on.
We'd lead a few people to faith in Jesus, and then from there we would then help those people to sort of create their own sort of church or culture. You know, so Chav Church is me saying, I am maybe I'm rob that gun. No, keep that gun. Anyway, so I would say that Chav Church is me going into a place and encouraging a bunch of people to follow Jesus, and then saying, now, out of your own culture, we want to see a Christian expression of church, like unfold out of where you're at. Does that make sense? So the other one is we're going to impose our style of Christian spirituality on you, whereas the pioneer should be saying, I want you to sort of figure out how the Christian faith looks to you personally as a group, as a culture. So so you know, you wouldn't go into I wouldn't take 60 people to Nigeria, for example, and then tell everyone to wear Adidas tracky bottoms, Adidas shoes, and Adidas hat, and speak in English with a cap on, and do church that way. You know, with loud English music. I just wouldn't do that. I'd probably go in there and I'd say, okay, let's lead a few people to faith, and then see how, like, as we teach them about Jesus, how do they see church sort of forming out of their culture.
Okay. So in terms of like church planting, because I know in years gone by there was a massive, it was almost like you heard church planting everywhere. It was like the trend of everyone going out and doing church planting. In terms of the UK, where there seems to be like churches everywhere, would you say that church planting is still necessary? And if you think that, why do you think? Obviously you do, because you wouldn't be a church planter if you didn't. But why? Why is church planting still necessary in a country where there are churches everywhere? Do you know what I mean? And there are often like multiple churches in one area as well.
And so there's a few things going on there. I'd suggest that hopefully not all of those churches look and sound the same. So they'll be reaching out to different parts of the culture in that same area. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And what different people expect from church, or how different people connect with God. Hopefully, people will be each different church will be sort of finding a niche where they can reach someone different.
Yeah.
But then me personally, my thing is that I know lots of places where there are maybe single parents and stuff,
Right.
who can't really get to any church that is sort of like half relevant to them, you know,
Right.
and half looks like their style, you know, let alone that is totally their style.
Yeah.
And so and like maybe the word spirit filled, or you know, like sort of evangelistic and stuff, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Right.
Like there's lots and lots of places where parents would have to essentially find a lift or a bus or a taxi to get to a style of church like that, where the worship is active and all that sort of stuff. And so my thing is, I want to take our style of church, or a style of relevant church, to every place where there's a single parent who would otherwise have to catch a bus to church.
Right.
And believe it or not, there are literally millions of those communities around the UK where someone who maybe has loads of kids and like has a buggy and all that sort of stuff, and would find it really hard to jump on a bus and then travel 2 hours to go to a church somewhere. There are places like that in the UK, literally loads and loads of them. So,
could you not integrate them into churches that already exist in an area?
well, yeah, certainly could, yeah. Although as loads of new housing estates are popping up all over the place, in lots of places there are no existing churches. So I was in, I was been chatting to my friend Danny, who like, is a musician, and he said that in his area there's about 900 houses, and the nearest church, all the churches are in a town centre, which is maybe a good 15-minute drive away.
Right.
And so if you're a single parent on that estate, then you know you're gonna have to catch a bus or a taxi into town, where there's 5 churches all right next to each other on the same street, but there's none on your estate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, you know, like it's not just about integrating new Christians into an existing church. It's also about integrating the church into new Christians.
Right.
You know, so I've been to church before. I went to one at Bible college. You may remember it. It's called Sycamore Chapel, and Sycamore Chapel, they locked their front doors because they were scared young people were going to come in and ruin their service. So they literally locked people out of church because they didn't know how to deal with them.
Right. That's mad.
And it's like, well, you know, if I did go down there and lead a bunch of young people to faith, then what do I do then? Where do I send them? Because that's on another estate. There's only one church on that estate, and the church that is on that estate has no idea how to deal with these young people. So literally locks them out. You know.
That's interesting. Do you think like mainstream church doesn't know how to deal with young people? Is church
still active in the AO?
obviously?
I think.
Yeah. So like, is church in terms of like church services, I guess, more than the people? Is it suited for young people?
So I think that church is sort of. I think people often feel church is about a hour and a half service.
We better move.
And that young people are going to disrupt that.
Right.
Whereas church, for me personally, we better get out of this plane. Right there, and
oh, another guy. I'll take him out.
I was about to shoot you in the back.
Oh, there's another guy there.
Yeah.
There's another guy. Oh no! I'm coming to you. Careful. Sniper. Or a sniper with a heavy. Right, run to the safe zone.
Yeah. So what about picking up all this guy's stuff?
I got revived 3 plus times. Oh, car. You still there, Dan?
Loads of good stuff over here, by the way.
Yeah, I'm trying to... Right, there's a car, and I think he spotted me, but he now doesn't...
Carry more what? Yeah. Oh, see that? Someone shoot at me.
Gas is inbound.
Yeah, so young people and church.
Yeah, sorry. Someone's just sniping at us from behind.
Watch for enemy.
So young people and the church, I think that people.
10 remaining. Keep it
Oh,
up.
we're gonna die.
10 remaining? Oh, wow. Oh, how did you get over there? No, Darren!
I had to get run over.
Yeah, get out of that car, man.
Young people in the church. I think the church has. I think you might need to come and get me up, Bob. The church has no idea how to
I'm
deal with
dead.
young people.
Gosh.
10 was still standing.
Name mine.
We just came fifth.
Did we? I got your best game.
Came fifth. That's my best one. Right.
You're not very good at getting your arm on.
Oh, no, not really. So, yeah, it is quite difficult to play a game whilst talking about serious issues and serious topics. So, yeah, what I was gonna ask you again, Daz, was
Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
is mainstream church or church services, which are different things. Slide shot. Are they accommodating to young people? Well, not accommodating, because young people are part of a church family and they should feel part of the family, not just accommodated or pandered to, but kind of a real part of the family. Do you know what I mean? Like how could the plane? Yeah, how can the church be more inclusive of young people?
A lot of the time, some of the older folk in churches don't get young people, and they forget that once they were young people, and so they don't do that sort of stuff very well, really.
Enemy team is hunting you. Stay alert.
But I think basically
Targets
it
are up.
goes a
Get
bit of
to
both
work.
ways. So how can young people
Hostile
be
dropping into the
sort
area.
of
Watch the skies.
how can young people be
Located a supply box. Secure that position.
respectful of some of the stuff that's gone before them?
Yeah.
You know, and then how can older people sort of help young people to feel included? And then not only that, but how about the style of church? You know, the style of church that we have. So we have one of our church plants that we have is aimed solely at young people.
Right.
And so young people feel like they're really welcome in church, you know, and it's their church. So they sort of lead the church, they preach, they like they're just starting a little band and stuff, and it's their church, you know.
Yeah.
But then they don't feel the same way about a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on a Sunday morning, they feel like the adults are a bit weird, and they look at them weird, and they treat them weird, and all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and so if I ask, if I say, oh yeah, I'm going to invite an adult, to come to the youth church on a Thursday night, what tends to happen is all the youth go, oh no, that means everyone's gonna they're gonna make us feel awkward, and you know we won't want to dance in the same way, we won't want to sing in the same way, and you know all that sort of stuff. By the way, I'm going towards this yellow thing over here if you want to follow.
Yeah. So do you think church or mainstream kind of church services are designed towards an older audience? Or kind of not, yeah. So not, well, I guess audience in terms of I'm down. Why did I pause then?
Are you down totally? Are you?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm gulags, mate. I'm in the gulags.
Welcome to the
Okay,
gulag.
well, I'm probably
If
going to
you
be in there in a
survive,
second
you
as
earn your
well.
freedom.
So yeah, what was I saying? I think church for years has just been a case of
There's a
like
fight kicking off. You can
people
always have a go at these
sort of,
bastards while you're waiting.
submachine gun.
You ready to fight next?
So church has been a certain way for years. No, I don't.
Return to the front
Are you dead?
And,
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were in there. I would have helped you out. Sorry.
You're up,
Oh, is it?
soldier.
My bad.
So go sort this fucker
Yeah.
out.
I think I'm in the gulag now.
How are you?
Yeah, just gone in.
Oh!
Yeah, I think,
Bringing you.
Go on, Daz. Kill him.
woo, swear.
Oh, get to it, get to it, get to it, get to it, get to it! No! No! Get to it before he does! Oh,
Ah, no, he shot me.
69th. That's a bit different from 5th. Hold on.
He no-scoped me, didn't he? So I was just saying that I think there's loads of people that love the way they do church more than they love new people coming to church.
Oh, okay.
And so they would protect their style of church and what they think church should look like from newcomers, whether they're old, young, or whatever, you know. So, so I think that the majority of sort of contemporary churches, traditional churches, they don't try to make way for new initiatives and new ways of doing church, which is one of the good things about COVID-19. Like, obviously COVID-19 is an awful thing, but all of a sudden every church in the world is going,
it's forced lots of churches to kind of adapt.
That's it, yeah. You know, and so in that adapting, then how do we? So us guys as a church are going, how do we become more sort of relevant, and how do we aim our church services at a whole new load of people through a digital setup?
Yeah.
And so we've been quite lucky to be able to then go, okay, well, our church isn't like steeped in tradition, so we can then just do whatever we want. So let's just do the very best style of church that we can for the world of today, which includes young people and includes old people and includes some traditional things and then also some untraditional things, you know. So so one of the things that we had a couple of weeks ago was one of our lads read a scripture out in Polish instead of English in our main church service. Yeah. So and then we had a worship song in Polish as well.
Okay.
You know, and all that was just basically saying, you know, we want to be diverse and stuff, you know. So I guess how do we become more youth friendly in church? There's two options for making a church more youth friendly. So one is you start a new church, you pioneer a new church that is wholeheartedly for youth. The other is that you essentially have to you've essentially got to say, well, how do we change our current church service to become more youth friendly and youth aware? You know, so and I guess for us guys,
dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Yeah, so for us guys, what we did was we started a new youth service that was wholeheartedly aimed at young people, you know. So, and what that looks like then is it looks like me asking them, what do you want church to look like?
Oh, plane.
Battle Royale.
Cool. Okay, let's go to Storage Town, shall we?
Oh, that's a war zone, you know.
The question is how do we make the church more accessible to young people then? One of the things that we did was we got, first of all, we got a few young people to follow Jesus. And once they're following Jesus, we then turned around and said, okay, now that you're following Jesus, what do you want to do? You know, how do you want to express that? And so we went on that journey of figuring out what does church look like to young people. And surprisingly, it's not all that different to how church looks to older people, although the music's just a little bit different. And you know, maybe there's a few other things that are slightly different, but not an awful lot of difference really. But one thing that I did have was the music was slightly different, and there's you always got to have food.
Music and food, as you mentioned, is quite a powerful thing. In terms of bringing people together.
So young people were quite keen to sing worship again, you know. So they still wanted to do that. Whereas a lot of people would say, well, maybe young people don't want to do that, so let's not bother doing that. But until you ask them, you won't know that, you know.
Yeah.
So once we'd found a few young people who wanted to become Christian, then we said, okay, well, what do you think church should look like? And they said, well, we like it when it's a bit hyped up and you bounce the ball around. And oh, there's a guy right here.
I've got a guy right by me.
Oh, I'm down. Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's all right. Our young people turned around and said that they wanted to they wanted to have songs and they wanted to have a preach and all that sort of stuff. But they just liked being there by themselves without all them adults around.
Yeah.
And without all the expectations and all that sort of stuff of all the adults, you know. And then obviously they like the food as well, and they like playing a silly game at the beginning of the service and all that sort of stuff, you know. So, and they just like basically chose how a church service should be run for them.
Yeah.
And that's how we made a church that was sort of.
Are you in the gulag? Are you concentrating?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm dead. Yeah, so that's how we made a church that was wholeheartedly for young people. But then on a Sunday, how do we make church accessible for young people on a Sunday? The few that do come, they sort of sit together and they spend time together.
Yeah.
And they have like they play games like maybe Xbox or something, and church is quite fun. The talks are quite short. The talks every Sunday for us are aimed at people that aren't very seasoned Christians anyway.
Right.
So that means that that anyone can listen. You know, anyone can be involved, and then we try to involve everyone as well, which makes it that little bit more sort of what's the word? Makes it that a little bit more sort of accessible to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know. Your best bet's to speak to young people, I guess. You know, what do they want
I think that's it's important to talk to them how they can feel. What would make them feel more part of church as a family?
Yeah. Lovely jubbly.
He's following me.
I'm after you.
Oh crap!
Come
on, reload. Distraction. There we go.
Probably getting his mate up. He's getting his mate up, isn't he?
Should I? Oh yeah, of course. Oh, I should have killed him when he was down. Cool. So my next question is kind of to do with the whole lockdown online thing. Obviously, like, I work for a Salvation Army youth centre, so we've had to adapt in terms of like Zoom sessions and online gaming sessions. Oh. Which kind of has got us thinking, and I guess a lot of churches thinking, can you have church online? Can you create, I guess, church plant? Can you church plant online? Flipping heck! Oh my gosh! So, you better not have a tracker. Can you church plant online?
So what we've done is we've said we want to plant a church online, and essentially we have spent a little bit of money on promoting an online church plant. But then in that, there's loads and loads of places where that can take place.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of churches that are just like, you know, our online church plant is on our website. And that's where you have to go if you want to come to church. But for us, we like cross-platform, so we go into YouTube, Facebook, and onto our website all at the same time.
Oh, I just realised the storm's coming in.
Yeah, I think that's what we use as well. You might need to jump up and go. They die. We're planting a church online, but then promoting stuff online isn't good enough, sort of.
Oh no!
You're gonna die. You're gonna die as well.
No! For some reason, I just forgot the store was there. Oh my life.
Oh no, gulag boy.
Oh,
You might have got
bro.
a kill though. You might have got a kill for that. So yeah, I think with Church Online, like we are planting 5 churches at the
Time
moment,
for a bit of urgent
where we're starting off
You
online,
can
then we
practice
hope to
your
meet in
aim while you
person.
wait.
Because
Taunting your
church
enemy
just
is
isn't
an
the
effective
same
way to get
when
inside
you're not
their heads.
near people,
So is the
and when
workplace
because
style.
like love is shown through so many different ways. So you can't give someone a gift if you only ever see them
There's a
online.
fight kicking off.
You know, you can't like
Get ready
give
to
someone a
fight,
bit
you're
of like
next.
a bit of a cuddle if you only ever see them online. You know, and you can say nice things to them, but it's not the same without hearing their voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
You
yeah.
lose, your fight
You
is
know,
over.
all of those all those things being
You're
said,
up, soldier. Now go sort this
we
fucker
sort
out.
of should be. Hello. I think we need to meet together. You know. Go on. Have him.
Someone threw a rock at my head. Ah! Come on, man. Come on, come on. Secure, secure. No! Ah! Yeah, I think this is my my last question, I think.
Oh, is it?
I think so, yeah.
What's the question?
It was that. The whole planting churches digitally.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I think the majority of people that would attend a church online rather than in person are going to be people that sort of struggle with relationships and doing relationship well.
Right.
Does that make sense? So people that naturally struggle with that sort of stuff anyway.
Yeah. So do you think online church planting can be done in a way to help people who struggle with, I guess, social anxiety almost?
Yeah.
To feel, to build their confidence
Stand by for deployment.
to eventually do, I guess, physical face-to-face church, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, plane.
And I think let's go to the military base.
Battle Royale.
Let's do it. That sounds
Mark the
safe.
drop point for your team. You'll lead them in.
Yeah. So
Gas is approaching your position.
So-
Move to the safe zone.
I think people that are naturally sort of like feel a bit anxious about being around people might find it easier to be part of an online church than what they would to be part of a in-person church.
Yeah.
But the problem that you have is that you sort of negates a little bit of growth. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, oh, hello. Ah, what? I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm here. Oh, I missed it. Oh, no, I'm going to die. Oh, that was very short-lived.
That was awful. Come on, let's get this gulag
Come on,
done.
we can do this.
Straight in as
I
well.
believe in this. Oh, Daz, I can see you. I'll tell you where he is.
They've got their
I was just about to shoot him in the face.
RTB at this time. Your
Oh, I
team
can't
is
believe that.
KIA. It's
I'm
up
out.
to you now.
Oh, well, that was well short. That was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Get
What
ready
was
to
I
fight.
saying?
You're next.
Oh yeah, I was just saying about online church planting, and
Yeah.
I think what we're going to see is sort of a load of churches that sort of connect with people personally, but then have people that would only attend
Win here and
online
you return to
because
the front
they're
line.
maybe
You lose, your
socially
fight is
anxious and
over.
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Sort them out or capture
both
the
are good. I
objective.
think it's good to have both in place.
Oh, no. Yes.
Great stuff, well done, mate.
Can't beat me. You're crazy. I
Back
don't
in
think
again,
I've
back
won
in again.
one gulag match in this game. Yeah, so carry on.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah. I don't really know what I say about online church. I think it's certainly a new way of doing things, isn't it?
It can be, I guess, it can be used as a tool, but not a replacement. Maybe.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. And I think people still want to be together. You know, like
Yeah.
loads of people that I speak to saying they're really keen just to be with each other again.
Yeah.
You know, you're nice and kitted up there, aren't you?
I know. Oh, nearly died then. I'm going to try and find all this money. Yeah, so it's kind of a oh, I'm trying to close these doors. 1, 2. Yeah, so
Another LMG, isn't it?
oh, money.
Nice big pot of cash money.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to talk about, obviously we are playing a video game. And I know a lot of, I guess more, not to be stereotypical, but I guess more adults, middle-aged, wouldn't really think in terms of gaming. It would be more kind of Zoom sessions, Zoom meetings and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of gaming, like we're playing Call of Duty at the moment, but like Skyrim or games like that, could you do a church plant in games? So like things like Minecraft, where you have like literally people building Minecraft churches and holding online services. So I'm being
like I guess like my natural instinct is each to their own. I'm not sure if I'd fit into that. You know what I mean? Like, and it's also funny because you're like, you know, middle-aged adults and all that sort of stuff. How you know, and you're talking like that, but then we are middle-aged adults.
Well, speak for yourself, mate. I've only just turned 30.
I'm only 35, bro. And I feel like
that's a lot closer to middle-aged than I am.
But yeah, like I think mate, I know there's some like forums and stuff on Xbox Live and PlayStation Live, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
You know, the lesser version of Xbox. You know, and
I'm not going to comment.
I know there's some like forums and groups and stuff where where you can belong to like a Christian group and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's important to ask ourselves, and with online church as well, it's important to ask ourselves, what is it that makes church church? And I think church is a collection of God's people.
Right.
And so God's people are Jesus' disciples. And so you sort of have to say, well, what makes me a disciple of Jesus? Jesus said, if you love one another, it's by loving one another that people in the world would know that you follow him. So I guess if we love one another and we're online, then great.
Yeah.
That makes us church, doesn't it? And then you have to think, what else does church do? You know, what else do we do as church? And so Jesus said to his disciples, you're going to get shot. Jesus said to his disciples that that they should go and make disciples.
Yeah.
And so I guess you can't really be a person of God without making a disciple. And then you go, well, what does it mean to make a disciple? Well, to journey with someone for, say, 3 years. You know, that's what Jesus did, isn't it? Journeyed with someone for 3 years. So could it be church if someone's not journeying with someone for a seriously long period of time as they both grow together?
Oh, sugar.
You know, it's so fun.
Mate, I'm bricking
it. A smoke grenade. Gas grenade, one of the two. But I think they know you're in there, don't they?
I know, yeah. They fully do.
Yeah, so I guess if those things are being done, then you could call it church, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Do you have to worship at church? Don't know. Maybe you do. He's wanting something. No! There's another one. Yeah. To like answer your question fully, I think maybe we could like have a think and have a Bible study at some point. You know, what does it mean to be the church? And then from there we can decide whether it's possible to have gaming church or online church or church in a house, for example.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the chances are you could probably do all of those things. You know, as long as you was intentional about being the church.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Oh, that's all really interesting.
Lovely.
Right. I think we can wrap up the interview there. I've really enjoyed playing with you and talking to you.
Oh no.
Could this be a history first of doing an interview over a video game? Because it was very challenging.
It was.
But no, no, carry on.
I was going to say, I think the conversation was quite deep, and maybe wouldn't have gone quite as deep if we weren't playing. If that makes sense.
You kind of get lost in just talking whilst playing a game. It's almost like when you're driving, driving a car, and you just kind of say everything that's going around your head. No, that's great. No, I just want to say a massive thank you for taking time out to be interviewed, and I've really enjoyed it. It's brought back a lot of memories.
That's good. Yeah, I've enjoyed it as well, mate.
Before online play, when we were literally sitting next to each other on a sofa, playing co-op.
Squeal at the juggernauts and that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but no, I've got to say, a massive thank you, and I think all the best with what you're doing with Chav Church and you in Lincoln. I know we haven't actually said where you're actually based, but in Lincoln, and all the best. Massive thank you. Thank you very much. Hi, thanks for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe. We're a Salvation Army Youth Centre based in Aston, Birmingham in the UK. We run a whole range of different services and programmes for young people, including after school clubs and drop-ins, sports coaching, mentoring, school holiday projects, as well as nationally accredited qualifications in various art forms, including music production, digital art, illustration, comic creation and loads more. If you'd like to find out more about us, do follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Aston_614, and we're also on Facebook. Thanks for watching, take care.